Why is it that good ideas die out so soon and so early? Same thing. Uh, Basically, been listening to a lot of Beatles. I've been listening to Pearl Jam's 10 over and over again. Good music, good stuff, both of them. And also been thinking quite a lot. But that's what put me onto this train that so many good ideas, so many good things, but everything stops far too short of its time. I guess that's how people actually achieve greatness or whatever, by pursuing what they can do to the best of their abilities. They know that I don't know if they know or not, but once they have their ability, they pursue it in whichever way, not monetarily, although it seems to play a big part in life these days. And yeah, I guess blogging would be at least these random things, all these fragments that I have all over the place. These can only obviously come together as a blog book sort of a thing, or just, I dump it all into one blog and, whenever I have time, add stuff, type stuff. But, who the hell wants to know that much about my life, right? So, you gotta find a publisher. Something must be done, holds promise. But then again, I have to work on that too. And then, of course, there's always the daily rigmarole of routine, office, traffic, transport, food, home maintenance. I just got the fan fixed, as in got a regulator attached to it. It's got variable speed is good. And well, 2.5 minutes. So good enough. I'm gonna continue listening to 10, over and over again.
I just got the capability to do that, and if the huge contingent of spectators can get that, they would love it and maybe go home much more happier. The sixer, an ideal tonic. If Seva would have been there, he would have done that. But then, now, risk can be taken. Mulligan goes in and bowls to Aradhye. Aradhye hits it all along the ground, picks up a single, that's all he'll get. So, 5 runs required, 48 overs gone.
Okay, it's late, but I had this thought about what I've been thinking a lot about these days, which is where does all matter come from, and if we are real, if all this is real, then obviously something has to have started it. And I've I've thought of it as there's a hollow tube in the center and the outer surface of a cylinder, suppose, and it flares out evenly like this and closes back itself upon itself, closes back upon itself. So it's like if this is the center of the circle of the cylinder, so it's the surface of space-time is this and that. And anyway, it doesn't matter, because of what I'm going to say next, it doesn't matter whether this is true or not. Since I have perfectly plausible memories or experiences, and everyone does, the human civilization does, the earth does. What is not definite is how far it goes back, but what is definite is it's going to go in front, and I'm not talking about in terms of time. This is not to be confused with having the me giving in to the temptation of following time for what mankind has defined it as. Not at all. In fact, quite the contrary, it is the perfect reason to believe that time is definitely not the most fruitful of pursuits that we as intelligent beings could pursue. What we should look forward to is, maybe what I would suggest is that we increase the, well, idealistically, of course, we should look towards spreading, towards technologically, towards researching and developing, so that instead of killing and instead of people dying of hunger and money and all, we should more put in our efforts more towards either building lunar bases or interplanetary travel, or even better things than the ISS, more humane things instead of weapons and everything. Because in the end, the more, see, if we wipe half the population of the earth out, then it's going to be a disaster for those that survive as well, because it's not like the centers of knowledge are going to survive. It's going to set us back by thousands of years. And personally, if I stay alive, I'm sure I'll manage to survive better than most of the survivors, that is. But for it not to come to that, it's important to think about the future, and think about the future more in terms of, even more in the future, in terms of longer time frames than we think about right now. Very idealistic and all, but just a thought. And the outer circle of the cylinder into the closed sphere kind of thing. Well, it'll at least serve the purpose of neither having a beginning nor having an end, right? Wherever Earth is situated on that space-time surface. So, that. Making a record only makes sense when there is some purpose to it. And there is no purpose right now at this moment in my mind. So I've had this impulse, so I'm going to act on it right now. That time is of no consequence, especially the past. So the thing to do is to make, the most of every moment you got. That's why I decided to act on this impulse. It's kind of led to this. So without further ado, Time by Pink Floyd. The timestamp is in the file, so you'll know that this is the second video that I'm making after that first Time by Pink Floyd. What I meant when I said that time is of no importance is that time is just something we invented so that we could count our gains. It's something by which we could measure how productive we'd been in a day, which before was the rising of the sun and the setting of the sun, and now it was 6:42 a.m. or whenever it takes place on these wintry mornings. So I thought that it's important to keep every thought recorded, and why not make best use of the media that I have at my disposal. It seemed, right now it seems a pretty vain thing to do, but at the time that I thought it 10 minutes ago, it sounded brilliant. even if nothing comes of it, at least okay, uh, so I should state something of consequence here, that life couldn't be better. I am happy at this place, at this time, with the way things are. I'm tempted to say it could have been better, but like I said, the past is of the least importance. And here is to the future. So, what shall I play? Wish You Were Here, again by Pink Floyd. So I thought I'll add something of some seriousness today. Okay, what I mean when I say that time is of no essence is that just like time is of no essence to animals or to plants or even to, the universe itself. See, existence of course is something which I cannot wrap my head around. Big Bang, what did it all come from? But at the same time, while we are, scientifically on Earth and alive, we need to accept the fact that we are just very nicely evolved biological beings, natural beings, and time is something artificial. And I've written something like that on my cell today. So, continuing what I've written in my cell today, the answer to the question that why I am not something that I want to be, or why at this point in time I am unhappy, or I lack something, or I need something. Need of course is another natural thing, but just the regret over the possibility that I could have been this, I could have done that, I would have been in this place at this point in time had I had this happen. This is all bullshit. And the excuses invented by people to either justify something they're doing right then, which they know they don't want to do, or just, well, I'm not an expert, so I won't get into that. But I intend to be. Okay, that's another thing. Well, just because I've started this does not at all mean that I've become a philosopher, although I intend to. But the thing is, it does take some effort. It does take more effort than just opening up a laptop and pressing record and spewing out garbage. It has to be kind of better documented so that, well, for a very selfish, reason to gain influence, as Frazier says. But at the end is basically an attempt to break away from regretting about the past. It's an attempt at, kind of looking into the future, keeping the future in mind rather than the past. And even when it comes to the age-old adage of learning from your mistakes, learn and that's it. Forget about it. I mean, survival and the surviving instinct, I guess, is there in us. And I guess individually I'm trying to figure out what is mine, what am I good at, or what will help me, what expertise or whatever knowledge will help me survive more. And I guess that's just evolution. That's how evolution will progress. And this might be because I've been reading in office. They're paying me to do nothing, I mean, I asked them for work and there wasn't much. Christmas time, maybe, holiday time. So it could be that I'm influenced by stuff that I'm reading up, but that's what I said, becoming a philosopher requires a little effort, and I think one of the things I'm good at is reading. So the next, I mean, like I said, the future should be a little bit about reading, which I am doing, but there's only so much serious reading you can do in a day, So what song shall I listen to now? This Velvet Glove by Red Hot Chili Peppers. First things first, Microsoft Journal Writer is disappointing, frankly. I mean, if I start it doesn't have a text thing entry as a default. Secondly, I wish I could record this in better resolution because this is VGA and this should have been better than VGA. Generally. Right, so how did so I wanted to type something and something must be done, and and for that I had copied a link about Chinese troops infiltrating Indian territory from office and emailed it to myself and stuff like that. So when I opened, so the net wasn't on when I got back. So when I switched it on, the page didn't reload. So I copied, Control C, Control V. What I do in Office, I did that into something must be done, and that's in that folder in the how I wrote the book I never wrote folder. I saw the first 2 or 3 videos that I had taken, and that reminded me that I thought that I'll do this every day. But it doesn't. I mean, everything you say doesn't really happen. Everything you want doesn't really happen. So that's it for now. Awesome. Well played, India. Well played.